All right, everyone, it's time to dream big. Let's talk about Marty Supreme. Back to Archer Vision, presented by MovieArcher.com and the Movie Archer Podcast Network. My name is Nico, and yes, we are here with Marty Supreme, the latest film from Timothée Chalamet, directed by Josh Safdie. This time around, we get to see what a solo Josh Safdie project looks like. He's going solo here. His brother Benny was doing his thing with the Smashing Machine, so with Marty Supreme, it was really an opportunity to see, okay, what does Josh bring to this table? The film is a ping-pong drama set in 1950s New York, where up-and-coming table tennis player Marty Mauser goes through hell and back to achieve greatness. And alongside Chalamet here, we have Gwyneth Paltrow in a comeback role. We have Odessa Azion, Kevin O'Leary, Tyler the Creator, and Fran Drescher. This movie is pure electricity. I know a lot of people have said that. I actually saw this movie a month ago, but I wanted to hold this review closer to release to really ride the momentum and build some excitement closer to when it comes out. But yes, I'm going to use a word a lot of people have used. This movie is electric. This movie is high octane. It is pedal to the metal. It is chaotic. It is in your face. And it is everything that you would expect from a Safdie brothers film. When I look back at films like Good Time and Uncut Gems here, I really loved what the Safdies brought to the table. But after seeing the Smashing Machine in this movie, I definitely am seeing what Josh's style was. And his style is a lot more consistent with those two films you saw before. Except this time around, I think that whole Safdie formula is actually perfected in a way. This is big budget Safdie. This is A24 and Timmy throwing everything in the kitchen sink and giving Josh whatever he wants to be able to make this crazy big epic vision happen, and I think it comes to life really well. I want to start with the table tennis scenes. Josh Safdie makes table tennis scenes absolutely epic. There's many of them that almost feel like two fighters in a Roman or Greek Colosseum. There's so much energy to the scenes. There's so much tension, and the way the actors are playing back and forth, I don't know if it's choreographed or if it just happens to be luck. I should look into that more, but the scenes have so much to them and actually were probably my favorite parts of the movie. The movie actually sprinkles them throughout, so it really opens with a lot of table tennis, closes with table tennis, and a couple of times sprinkled throughout the middle, but I would actually say I was hoping for a few more table tennis scenes. Outside of those, it really does operate like your typical Safdie brothers movie, where you're following a protagonist who is very unlikable and very difficult to sort of buy into, and you're watching them go on this crazy chaotic journey that keeps building and building and building. The chaos never stops, the tension never stops, and just the sheer stress and the way characters just keep, yelling and falling on top of each other keeps going throughout. And that spiral into madness where the character is starting to move towards a goal, right? In this case, Marty Mauser trying to be the greatest table tennis player ever, trying to go to Europe, trying to go into these tournaments. And then what happens is he starts involving all these different people in his life to try to help him. His relationships get in the way, all this, and he sort of creates this chaotic web that everyone sort of gets trapped in, and then each character gets affected, and things just keep building and building. By the end of the movie, you're just absolutely exhausted, you're drained, and you just cannot deal with any more stress. But why I say the formula is perfected here, while that all is there, and while this character is very unlikable, and at times you just want to strangle him, and while the movie gets more and more stressful and tiring, I think they perfect the formula because there's something very charismatic about this character, Marty Mauser, and I want to credit Timothée Chalamet here. You can't help but to root for him. I think he's a much easier protagonist, a much easier Safdie protagonist to buy into than Adam Sandler in Uncut Gems and Robert Pattinson in Good Time. There was something magnetic about watching this character really do whatever he wanted to be great, and that's why I appreciate Timmy's performance so much in this movie, because it really feels like a continuation of that SAG speech last year where he said he wanted to be one of the greats, and when he credited people like Michael Jordan, you watch a documentary like The Last Dance, Michael Jordan was insane. He was the hardest person to play with, and yet that's the only way he knew how to play, and that's what made him so great. The performance almost feels autobiographical in a way of Timmy being like, here's how great I am, here's what I want to be, and here's what I can do, and doing it without shame, without compromise, and with his full chest. And you know what? I really respect that. I want to see someone shoot for the stars. I want to see actors want to be great. Maybe because I enjoy sports too, but I really, really love this performance because it's a character I feel like I see when I watch sports. I feel like it's a character I would grow up aspiring to be as a kid. And when he says things like, you're going to see me on a Wheaties box, I'm like, hell yeah, I want to see you on the damn Wheaties box. And like I said, it's big budget Safdie. I think it's the best, looking Safdie movie. The cinematography, incredible. like I said, in those table tennis scenes, I mean, they make those things look as epic as possible. The production design of all the different parts of 1950s New York, especially when they go to different parts of the world as well, is really, really aesthetically pleasing. The editing is sharp. It's razor sharp, right? It's quick. It's fast. It's that Safdie effect. And Daniel Lopatin's score is absolutely incredible. At times, it feels almost like whimsical at times, even though it's not. It doesn't sound whimsical by nature, but I think it's such a surreal score that just kind of adds so much adrenaline to what's going on and does make things at times seem very, very fantastical. Like, it makes Marty Mauser and this whole journey he's going on really feel larger than life. It kind of takes you out of 1950s New York for a second. The cinematography, I mean, shot on 35 millimeter to give this thing a vintage 1950s feel. I just ate that up. It just helped immerse you in the experience. One of the other performances, Odessa Zion was my favorite supporting performance. She's probably like the loudest performance and the most showy of the supporting performances, but I really appreciate whenever there's an actor I'm not really that familiar with who really impresses me in a film, and that's what we have here with her. I do wish the character was written a little better. I think there's one part in the middle that I really did not like the writing choices with her, but I think the performance elevates it, and I really like where her character ends up. Gwyneth Paltrow really good too. I walked out of the film not really loving her performance, not disliking it, but thinking it was fine, liking it, but the more I thought about it in the days since I've seen the movie, or the weeks since I've seen the movie, is there was a lot of power and beauty in her subtlety and with some of the restraint. She shows a quiet performance, but I think her chemistry with Timmy and the way they work off of each other is really, really compelling. Some of the writing around her too I don't like. Yeah, between her and Ozion, I think the female characters weren't written the best for me here, but I do want to look at it in the context of the story that Josh Safdie was trying to tell here, and maybe, the way in the 50s that some of these characters would operate. I'm not quite sure, but so I want to penalize the writing for them too a little bit, but performance is solid. And then everyone else is really, really good. It's a strong ensemble, but I got to shout out Kevin O'Leary from Shark Tank. I didn't get the casting. I know a big Safdie thing is casting these real life people and putting them in these roles, but he's actually really damn good and has some incredible line deliveries and is in some of the most memorable parts of the movie. So, Mr. O'Leary, I have to pay you respect. I have to give you your flowers here. Put a bow on this point. Why I think this film is the Safdie formula perfected is because of the ending. The last 15 minutes of this movie are absolutely incredible. In the final shot, there is such an emotional slap in the face in the best way that it made me think, okay, this is an evolution of the Safdie story where they choose to leave this film, and it is, I think, one of Timothée Chalamet's, if not his most shining moment. I know you've probably heard a lot of people talk about the ending of this movie, the final shot. It is an absolute grand slam. Makes everything that came before it so much more worth it. And I think it really encapsulates and puts a really nice final stamp on this character of Marty Mauser, but also Timothée Chalamet's performance and where he's able to get to. I really saw something from him in that final scene that I feel like I haven't seen from him since maybe a Call Me By Your Name. I think the ending is important too, because even for me, who's a massive Timothée Chalamet fan, massive Safdie fan, and I really loved this movie, but I was sort of, as we were getting to the final lap of this movie towards the end of the third act, I was a little tired. I was a little over this thing. I feel like I've seen the movie and the story before, right? I was getting tired. I'm like, okay, how much more can I do this? I get it. And then where they choose to end the movie completely subverted where I thought this story was going. And I have to shake Josh Safdie's hand here and say, wow, you put me in a place I didn't expect to go. And wow, I did not know I needed it. And it's been a great year of endings for me. It is certainly one of my favorite endings of the year. The movie is downright exciting. The title sequence is bonkers, and it's going to confuse the heck out of you, and you're going to be turning to people in the audience going, what are we about to watch? And then the final moment of the movie too, it all makes sense, especially where certain characters go. You start seeing why that title sequence was even there in the first place. And I just really think the direction is strong here. The movie moves. The pacing is incredible. It really doesn't drag and might tire you you out, but it really doesn't drag that much. And I do think you're going to walk out of this feeling fired up, feeling pumped up. And I can't blame people for saying this is one of the movies of the year, because it really feels like that. Very easy movie to get excited about. And I say that as the best compliment in the world, especially with the way that this press tour is rolling out, with all the merch and with kind of Timmy being sort of over the top and of himself. I do think he's trying to stay in character and sell the movie, and I think it'll be more evident when the movie comes out. But there's just something about Marty Supreme, Dream Big, that I think watching it, you could all buy into and be like, I want this guy to be great. I'm watching greatness, and you know what? Maybe I want to chase greatness too. How do I chase greatness in my own life, you know? In terms of awards, I would like if Timmy won. I think this would be a cool moment for him to win. I think it would be sort of an encapsulation of everything he wants to be. But that's why I think it's not going to happen. He's certainly going to get a nomination, and I would like him to win. He's my skinny king. I want Timothée Chalamet to have an Oscar at some point. Don't know if that's going to happen. But I really would like to see an Odessa Zion nomination here. I actually think Paltrow is more likely to happen, just because she's a veteran. She's been in the game longer, and normally those people end up with the nominations. But score should absolutely be in there. I don't know if Josh Safdie is going to get in for Best Director. I would like him to get in there, but I think directing is so competitive this year that it's not going to happen. But editing, score, sound, production design, I mean, it cinematography, it really should show up with a lot. I actually don't know where I would put it in my Safdie ranking yet, between Uncut Gems, Good Time, and this, because they do feel like a trilogy back to, even though Benny was not a part of this, they do really feel like a trilogy of these three different characters. And I do think the character of Marty Mauser and Marty Supreme as a film is like the perfection and the perfect encapsulation of the storytelling of those three films. I do think it's going to hit really hard on a rewatch. I'm probably going to think it's even better. And right now, I'm just going to sit here with a really nice 9 out of 10. I think that's fair for this movie right now. I was actually going to say 8.5, but I keep thinking about the ending, and it just makes me want to bump it up more. So 9 out of 10, Marty Supreme, Christmas Day, right? That's what Timmy wants us all to think. That's what Timmy wants us all to know. Marty Supreme, Christmas Day, Marty Supreme, Christmas Day, Marty Supreme, Christmas Day. Well, you better be seeing Marty Supreme, Christmas Day, and when you do, please tell me what you think about it. Leave your thoughts in the comments. You like it, dislike it, agree with me, or disagree with me. But most importantly, dream big, everybody. And I cannot wait to hang out with you all again very, very soon.